Buying items for low prices and selling them for profit is more popular than ever and a great side hustle idea. My wife and I have profited over $10,000 this year from flipping items. I'll be talking about that later in this video, which is huge for a family living primarily on one income. Even big companies like Facebook, Etsy, and even Amazon are adopting this concept. You can flip pretty much anything for profit if you have the right skills. The question is, which items are the best to flip? In this video, we'll first talk about how flipping items for money works, and then focus on the 10 best items to flip. You might be surprised by a few. Thank you so much for checking out our channel and more specifically this video. Let us know what you are flipping, what you're having success with flipping in the comments below. If you're new here or you're just really starting out your flip game, come to the right place. We appreciate you and would love if you'd be willing to subscribe. It is free and really helps build this Money Made Simple community. So let's first talk about how flipping items works. I first want to make sure you're not confused with simply reselling items. Flipping items for money involves taking a physical item, sometimes digital, more on that later, that is old or damaged and restoring it to its original form. It can also involve enhancing a perfectly fine item or flipping an item that you just got really a good deal on. So how do you do this? Well, of course, that really depends on the specific items you're working with, but after the item is ready to flip, the huge thing you must do is take quality photos and post the item on a reselling platform such as Facebook Marketplace, Etsy, eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, maybe even OfferUp. The list really goes on. Now, according to ThreadUp, the secondhand marketplace is expected to grow 127% by 2023. Global secondhand apparel market will grow 3 times faster than the global apparel market overall. But in a nutshell, the process of flipping an item, whether digital or physical, is very simple and can be easily broken down into 6 different steps. So step 1, find an item to flip. You can either find items around your house that need to be decluttered, or you can also find things to flip in many places like thrift stores, garage sales, yard sales, auctions, junk shops, flea markets, online marketplaces, and much more. And then step 2, you're going to restore items to their former glory. This step may not be required for all items you want to flip, but in general, you would want to make sure the item you intend to flip is in good condition to make the most profit. And then step 3, you're going to want to take photos of the items you want to flip. You don't really need a fancy camera or really any fancy equipment, but make sure the items look great with proper lighting and a good background. And then you want to make sure you take photos from every side and make sure you include things like tags, branding, labels, any imperfections. In step 4, you're going to list your items for sale. To maximize your opportunities to sell fast and for the most amount of money, you need to understand what the best marketplace to sell a specific item is. So for instance, if you want to flip clothes, you should consider places like Poshmark, ThreadUp, or Tradesy. Whereas if you want to flip electronics, you may consider places like Declutter, OfferUp, or eBay. And you may also consider listing your items on more than one platform. That's definitely a strategy that I tend to use. And you want to make sure that you ensure you have a good description of your items that you want to sell. Step 5, you want to sell the items and ship them out. Depending on where you end up selling your items, you may have to ship the items yourself, or the marketplace would do it on maybe your behalf. Make sure you include the cost of shipping in your overall fees. Now what you can do is you can either build the cost of shipping into the price of the goods, or you can actually separate it and charge it separately. Including the price of shipping into the overall price and stating free shipping tends to be the best choice. And then finally, step 6, rinse and repeat. This is where you become a serial flipper and can do this as a side hustle or even as a full-time gig. Remember that practice makes perfect, so the more you flip, the easier it'll be. All right, let's get into it. So the 10 best items to flip is in no specific order. First is furniture. The possibilities are really truly endless when it comes to flipping furniture. From finding a dresser with potential, maybe finding it on the curbside, to picking up a vintage chair at an estate sale for a good deal. How you restore it is really dependent on very little supplies, some patience, and a little bit of elbow grease. Depending on the level of restoration you want to go for, all you need is some quality paint. Chalk paint is popular really among furniture flippers. Primer, wood stain, a sanding tool, and a paintbrush. But definitely make sure to take care of your paintbrushes and clean them to avoid buying new ones every time. And some furniture flippers also completely redesign pieces using saws, purchasing different hardware and legs, and creating custom designs using their Cricut machines. Second is sports cards and Pokemon cards. There are a few strategies when it comes to flipping cards. You can buy underpriced sports and Pokemon cards and flip them online. You can also buy ungraded sports cards, have them graded, and then flip them online. Getting what are called raw cards, which means ungraded cards, and grading them is a pretty big side hustle of mine. I personally use PSA to have those cards graded. Now the process can take up to 2 months to get your cards back, but it can be a very lucrative process if you know what you're doing. And if that is interesting to you, I will be sure to post a video in the future showing my exact process. The last strategy with sports cards and Pokemon cards is to buy boxes of sports cards or Pokemon cards and hold them to flip them individually as the value of the boxes then increases. The best place to sell, in my opinion, is eBay, although Facebook Marketplace will have much lower fees. Plus you can join Facebook groups and find lots of buyers and sellers there. But the big thing is making sure you are buying from reputable sources. Next is antiques. Antiques yield the best results when you focus on a specific niche such as dishware, furniture, or decor, just to name a few. The industry does require a little legwork to get into, but if you are diligent, you can end up finding some incredible pieces. The process begins with refining your Google skills and then identifying what is worth something and really what isn't. And there's also plenty of sellers that either aren't aware of how much a high ticket item is worth or simply just want to get rid of it. These are definitely the best case scenarios, but you need to know what you're looking for to begin with. And also keep in mind that just because something says it's a vintage or an antique, it doesn't always mean it's actually worth anything. All right, so fourth on our list are domain names and websites. Now, there's a difference between the two, but these were close enough in category that I include them as one. When it comes to domain names, flipping domains is great because you won't have to worry about hunting for or storing physical inventory. The process doesn't really require much effort, as all you have to do is buy existing domains for cheap and sell them for hire to other interested parties. You can buy domains from dedicated websites or marketplaces. Some of the most popular marketplaces to buy expired domains or domains that are for sale include the following. There's Namejet, GoDaddy, Domcop, Domain Hunter Gatherer, expired domains. The major goal is to pick a domain that pertains to a particular niche or business type so you can sell it to those individuals. Then some other important factors to consider when you buy a domain are to ensure that it's a brandable website, it's not too long, and it's search engine friendly. Once you find a good domain to flip, the next step is to buy the domain and register it to your name. After that, you need to find a buyer that will be interested in buying the domain. This is definitely going to be the hardest part, but once you have the right buyer, you can just transfer the ownership and get the profit. Different from domains, websites are the actual visual pages that are hosted within the domain. Think of the domain as the address and the website as the actual location. People can make great money by flipping websites on the side. Popular with freelancers specializing in web design, you can make a decent living with minimal training. Topics such as HTML, WordPress, and SEO are great to familiarize yourself with to mainly get started. You can create what's called a mock-up website, which is a sample used to demonstrate your skills to potential clients, and then advertise your service for free on sites like Fiverr or Upwork. Definitely a good way to get started. The fifth best item to flip is jewelry. Jewelry is another easy item to flip. You just have to train your eye to find high quality or vintage pieces. Look for materials such as solid gold, silver, and precious gems. Synthetic or plated jewelry materials do not sell for a high price point, and there are unfortunately a lot of fakes on the market. To be absolutely sure, take the piece to a jewelry store to have it authenticated. If you buy online, ask the seller for an authenticity certificate before buying your piece to flip. Most of the time, the jewelry you will find will simply need a polish or perhaps a small repair, such as a new clasp. If it is a vintage piece from a later century, consider taking it to a professional that knows how to handle and care for delicate jewelry. Once a piece of jewelry has been restored to its former glory, list and price accordingly. There are websites like Worthy that do all the heavy lifting on behalf of the sellers. They offer a streamlined consignment process, free appraisals, and GIA certified partners. And you can also consider other places to sell your jewelry like eBay, Etsy, WP Diamonds, and The Real Real. Next on the list is vintage and designer clothes and shoes. These two styles of clothing and shoes go hand in hand. The flip option is perfect for fashion enthusiasts. If the task of combing through thrift stores, flea markets, and online marketplaces for these rare gems is your cup of tea, then this is definitely for you. It does help to either know how to sew and restore different fabrics or know a skilled seamstress. Oftentimes designer clothes are in decent condition but could use some repair from time to time. Poshmark, ThredUp, maybe even Tradesy are some of the best platforms you can use to flip your designer clothes. Some of the most popular platforms to sell your vintage clothes includes Depop, Mercari, and Vinted. And they all do come with their, I would say, unique features, pros and cons, so make sure you understand which platform is best for maybe your particular situation. Another best item to flip is power tools. Power tools are always in demand. Many people often look for places where they can buy power tools cheaper due to how expensive they are when they're bought new. I know I definitely do, so this is where you and yard sales can come in. Many people don't understand the value of power tools, or they simply just want to get rid of them. Whatever the case is, there's definitely no shortage in demand. Simply check out yard sale signs or advertisements on online marketplaces to see where you can find them. And oftentimes, all you have to do is just dust it off and ensure it works to make a quick buck. Eighth on our list of best items to flip are musical instruments. Musical instruments are a highly profitable item to get your hands on. If you can find a musical instrument from a popular brand such as Fender, Gibson, or Yamaha, you're in for a real treat. This item is a fun hobby to flip that normally does not require extra time or money to put into it. Just make sure the instrument is in tune and functioning well before you buy and sell it. Aside from that, all you have to do is shine it up and list it. You can use platforms like Reverb that streamline the process of buying and selling musical instruments. They also offer protection to sellers to ensure your payments are definitely going to be guaranteed. Ninth on our list is old tech. Technology is extremely resource intensive, and there are still perfectly usable laptops, tablets, and phones that just need a little tweak and maybe a little polish to be good as new again. Refurbishing technology is certainly a form of flipping, and you can find parts or older versions of it on resale marketplaces like eBay, Craigslist, and Facebook Marketplace. If you know what you're doing, you can easily, I mean easily, make a few $100 per month. Whether your customers are looking for a cheaper alternative or trying to be more eco-conscious, there will always be a demand for flip tech goods. Platforms like Declutter make it easier for people to buy and sell old technology online. What Declutter offers is a free valuation tool, a price guarantee, and fast payment. And one more thing, you can even send your items for free. So definitely check them out. Our 10th and final item to flip are baby items. Believe it or not, there is a huge price gauge for baby items. Similar to power tools, many parents look to buy secondhand for their children to save money. You can find baby clothing at thrift stores as well as other baby items on online marketplaces for a reasonable price. This flip also requires minimal effort most of the time, and the price you sell it for depends on the amount of time you spend making the item look new again. It is important with this flip option to know all the top baby brands to look out for. Another thing to possibly be wary of are items with expiration dates, maybe something like car seats, and a recall history, something like strollers, as it will be much harder to sell those types of items. Some types of baby items that people will flip include strollers, change tables, high chairs, classic toys, and obviously clothing. Once you find the best baby items to flip, you can easily list it on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, or Craigslist to keep your expenses low and your profit margins high. So there you have it. These are our 10 best items to flip. It can definitely take some hard work, but flipping these items can pay off with quite large potential profits. Now once again, the best place to find these items for cheap are yard sales, garage sales, auctions, thrift stores, flea markets, estate sales. And then oftentimes the best place to resell these items are places like Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Mercari, Craigslist, OfferUp, Poshmark, Garage Sale, Etsy, Kidsism, Declutter, and the list probably goes on, but that's enough for now. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out our video. We hope we provided value to you. If we did, smash that like button. Don't forget to share with others, and I will see you in the next video.